So I'm going to make another assumption that I want to deliver this robot to the client, and this bug, the one which caused in the ensure video is playing, it's still here. We were unable to create a robust selector in order to distinguish from the big play button or to the one that it was caused the left side menu to appear. And this main it's uncommon, so this flow doesn't execute here. Now I'm going to try to force to reproduce this bug. I have cleared the browser cache and I hope it's reproducible here. So I'm going to go here in the main, run because I want to execute this open, and then probably try to deal here in the ensure video explain. So go run here. Okay, it's opening the new tab, exactly. So now this one we were able to reproduce this or not, because we have this commercial. So I think we'll need to finish to wait and see what's happening. Okay, so we still have here. Hopefully it will work. I'm gonna go minimize. I'm gonna stop the execution for the UiPath robot. Go here to ensure video is playing. I will edit the selector and try to highlight, and it's here. It's here and I hope it's visible, right? So go back, open UiPath Explorer. This will be the first step because I'm going to try to create an even more robust selector. Drag and drop from the other screen. So my first assumption is that in this case, either this one of elements is changed, one of the attributes is different. So I can make the distinguish between this one and the menu, which is from the left side. So let's go with this first step. Now, in order to check, I'm gonna go and use the snipping tool because I don't want to keep in mind all of the things. I'm gonna select the items and I'm gonna try to ignore the CSS selector. This one is not visible, despite I think I can make it visible. So make another screen. Okay. And I'm gonna close here, go in the Chrome, hit the play button, minimize this, and open again UiPath Explorer. Drag and drop from the other screen. And let's make a highlight. Yes, as you can see, this one is not highlighted. So what I suspect is that this element is not visible. By the way, this one is my first assumption. This element is not visible. But that would be my second option. So go here, put this snipping tool on the left, and I'm going to try to compare you just using by the eye. So we have here the class, the same, the area label is still play. Now the CSS selector, it seems to be the same, YouTube player, watch time, isLeaf, it's still 0, and the title, of course, this one is not being changed. So this option has failed. Now I can go to find one of these parents, but I don't see anything related to the video player. I can see here actually here the YouTube video player. This one is related to class. But by the way, right now we are in the case that the element is not the one, the correct one, so it's still hidden. So let's consider that this option fails because you can easily go in the parents and try to find an attribute of the parent and try to check this web control, and the selector will be even more specific. This will be a parent, and then I'm going to try to find the proper element. And to be honest, let's take this approach because that would be the normal my case. So I'm going to go hit copy. I'm going to close Chrome and hopefully it will work. Chrome, I'm going to enter. Okay, so I have the same behavior. And unfortunately, even if I'm going to press validate, this tree will not be refreshed. So what I encourage you to do that, open UiPath Explorer again, even if this selector it's the same. I have seen many times this bug in the UiPath Studio. It's not refreshing the entire properties and the entire flow. So I'm searching for a YouTube video player, and I'm gonna try to look under these attributes. This class was here also. This one is a container. This is a movie player. I think it's the same. We are having this property here in the parent ID. So this attribute parent ID is referring to this control, which has this ID movie player. So this one is definitely something which were interesting. and it has this style scope and YouTube player. And because this one is related to scope and the player, I hope this one would be a good candidate for this. Parent class, we are having this attribute parent class because one of these elements which are on the top has this class style state, style scope and YouTube player. So what I'll do, I think this will be a good candidate. I'm gonna check it. But for this, I will uncheck the tab index, parent ID, I'm gonna leave it container, CSS selector, I'm gonna uncheck, tag div, and I'll have this parent class because these attributes are referencing to my movie player. Okay, so we are having this, and then I'm gonna have another selector for the player ID. And I'm gonna validate, highlight, and the element is found correctly. And in order to check, I'm gonna hit this play button, hit another, again, the validate, and hit the highlight, which is exactly, we're having the same behavior, so the element is found. Now, unfortunately, it seems that with this approach, it seems to be impossible. So we're probably having a case that we are unable to reproduce this. Now I'm gonna cancel this. So because we are unable to find some selectors, which they are reliable, then I'm gonna cancel and go to the next one. So I don't want to save. Actually, I'm gonna close, hit a copy. And what I'll do, I'm gonna try to use another activities. And the next step is to search for other attributes rather than these, which are referring to the displaying on the element. First attribute which I'm thinking is this element visible? I'm gonna make this validate because I have started Chrome manually. Open in UiPath Explorer. Drag and drop here from the other screen. Let's see if this one is visible. So we're having a look here to the property explorer. That's our element and it's highlighted correctly. So it's definitely is referring to a valid element. So let's check for is foreground false, has focus false. I'm gonna try to see anything which is related to visibility. So we have visibility set to 1. This element is visible. So I'm gonna keep in mind this element is visible. And another attribute which I would think is the position or the size. Every time when you retrieve a position, you're retrieving the XYs, the Y axis, and the size between the width and the height. So this position has actually 3 elements. Has the X, which by the way, 0 is here in the top left corner, here where I have my mouse, and it started from down. This is the 0 position, and if you go here along with my mouse, that's the Y position, and if you go under the horizontal, that's the X position. So I'm looking for something which has the Y, X different and the size. So that would be the second element. So for now, I think I'm gonna skip to these 2. Okay, so I'm gonna close again the UiPath Explorer, hit on the play button, and I'm gonna open again UiPath Explorer because again, I'm gonna emphasize, I have seen many times this bug that even if the UiPath Explorer, I'm gonna hit validate, these properties are not refreshed. So the first which I'm gonna see, this one has visibility to 1, so it is visible, and if you highlight, you can see that there is not here. So the first property, it's failing, but at the position, I see that it's changed. So I see right now 1920 pixels, and this is my resolution of the screen which I'm making this recording. So I think what's happening, that element position is changed. So this is what I'll start to investigate. I'm gonna get the position and try to see the differences. I'm gonna go minimize, and actually I'm gonna leave this screen, close this selector, and use another attribute which is get position. Get attribute, I could use the get attribute in order to get visibility, but I see there is no difference. So get position, and in the rectangle, I'm gonna say play position. Wait for ready, I'm gonna set to complete, and the element, I'm gonna say play button UI element. By the way, that's another reason you can use a UiPath element instead of the selectors, because you can refer to the same element from the multiple activities. So get position, I'm gonna put a breakpoint here and try to debug this. Okay, so I'm going here to my rectangle, no, to the play position. What I can see, the X has 0, the Y 0, and the height is 0. Now let's have a look here to this element. Maybe it's here. Maybe let's keep to the play. So this one has a 0. This is something different which we have seen from the UiPath element, because I have seen that the X is 1920. So I'm going to stop and I'll remove the wait for ready to none and hit another debug to see if this position has been retrieved correctly. Okay, so now we have that the play position has 1920, which is exactly what we are looking. And by the way, this is the width and the height, which are 0 now. Okay, so I'm gonna stop. By the way, I can use the snipping tool all the time. I'm gonna use this and hit a stop. Then I'm gonna copy, close the browser, and I'm gonna open another Chrome, hit the paste. We're having display. I'm gonna debug. And now the play position, it's definitely different. I can see that the X and Y is different, but mostly the width and the height. Width and height here indicates that there is a width and the height of the actual element. And this element, the other one, which has a 0, it means that it was hidden, was somewhere here in the left side. So this is what I'll include. I'm going to include here in my if condition, I'm going to add that the play position has the width greater than 0. I'm going to stop. So if this play position, if this UI element is not nothing, and also in the play position, I'm going to refer to the width or the height. Let's take the width. The width is strictly greater than 0. Hit save. And now let's try to uncomment this. I'm going to comment out. I'm going to enable, hit the save, hit the close, and now let's try to run the current file. Actually, I can put some if here. I could do a tracing because in this case, that was a tricky thing and I don't want to reproduce. I could use a trace, and actually I'm going to do that. So I'm going to add another log, but I'm going to use trace because this information, it's only referring to the debugging information. And I'm going to say play button, actually play button has width. Okay, and then I'm going to have start playing the video. And let's go and run this file. Close the snipping tool. Okay, so we're having this play button. It's clicking on that, then it's skipping the ads, and we're having the same behavior. Then if I'm gonna put here in somewhere in the left, I'm gonna make UiPath visible just to see the loggings. So play button has a width, start playing a video, commercial has been skipped, and maybe we can try to go to the next one. Clip duration is waiting to finish. Okay, so the clip duration should be detected, by the way. That's the behavior which we are expecting from here. Maybe we didn't revert. So total timestamp, so total time string is different than the current total time. Okay, so we're having here another side behavior. I'm gonna put a breakpoint. Oh, I'm not, actually we're not debugging. We are just running the file, so stop.